if you're a founder, so Nathan, yourself and Sebastian are here, we've done a lot of talking about where is Blue Sense headed. If you're a founder of a brand, where are the areas that they should be thinking about most over the next 3 to 6 months about what 26 looks like?
Number one, they should be building out a forecast for next year. Number two, they should be thinking about how much media spend are they going to allocate to content and creative production. Number three, they should be thinking about the product launches throughout the year, as well as the effective moment creation that Ibra inferred towards. So how are we going to manufacture revenue spikes throughout the year to actually achieve our target? They're probably my three. Anything to add?
I think developing a robust creative strategy. So looking at your year, having a marketing calendar in place that takes your historical data and seasonality into consideration. So you need to know going into 2026, what are your weaker months, so that in those months you can buffer that with more creative testing, artificial revenue peaks, not necessarily a profit, maybe something like a brand collaboration, and then tailor your creative strategy towards that. So making sure that you've got your niche audiences that you want to test per month, whether that be for testing out different kinds of evergreen angles, whether it's testing out gifting angles over Christmas or, summer messaging as we're going into the seasonal months. Those are all things that you need to be looking at and knowing at per month. So you need to know what you're testing in Jan. You need to know what you're testing in Feb and make sure that that's actually relevant to your seasonality, to your brand, and to your market. And that also changes. If you are a brand that's scaling, you have to do that all over again, because if you're in a different country, that will vary as well. So, if you're an Australian brand, like a lot of our clients are, then we're going according to Australian calendars as well as our internal brand calendars. But if you're scaling into the US, you need to pivot that strategy 180 because you're testing in different seasons. You're no longer messaging for summer, you're messaging for winter. You're messaging for US pain points, not Australian pain points. You're messaging for Thanksgiving, So you really need to make sure that you're tailoring your creative strategy to all those moments throughout the year as well.
Can I make a sub point on that?
Go for it.
I think that the down months are actually the best months to test.
Yeah.
Because your top 20% winners will win all the time. They will always win. In good months, 50% of your ads will win. And so you get this artificial inflation in ads that actually won't perform in a colder market. And so you think stuff is working, which actually builds a worse feedback loop for future creative iteration. So you kind of get your best, cleanest data signals in really bad months. So Q1 is actually a really good period to load a bunch of creative in and do a lot of testing, because you still will find winners. You're going to find winners even in bad months, and then they'll shine through, and then you can really crank them up when you enter into hotter months.
Couldn't agree more. I think a good example of that now is we've obviously done all of our Q4 and January planning already for all of our brands. And one thing that we've kind of picked up is obviously we've got the different niche audiences that we want to test. And honestly, they go on for so long that could keep you busy for an entire year on its own. But obviously, we're about to go into Black Friday as a present. And we're not really doing any evergreen testing during that time because there's no budget. All of that budget's going to go into Black Friday. Why would we test evergreen content during that time? That's the time where we're taking all the content we've already tested. But something like January is such an exciting month because you can kind of test all the stuff that you don't really have time to produce in months like Q4. So yeah, couldn't agree more on that point. I think it's a good flag.
Amazing. Well, final question then. There's a lot of change happening in our industry at the moment. I think that's incredibly apparent when you walk into a room with our team at a conference and we're talking about what is each of our roles potentially looking quite different over the next 12 to 24 months, whether that is new tooling that's really commoditizing, the more pure technical aspects of an older role, or how this new sort of importance of creative strategy and production is really reshaping the way our business operates. Change is always kind of scary and stressful, but it's also a big opportunity. Question for each of you, what are you most excited about in that change over the next year?
Hey, Brett, should I go? Yeah, great question. I think the latest changes that we have seen on Meta will end up just increasing the quality of the advertising that is happening on the accounts right now. Because the reason why Meta is changing so much the ad delivery right now is because with AI coming into play, the creative production became so easy and so accessible to so many brands, which increased the number of creatives that are essentially looking all the same, that are going onto the ad accounts. And if no changes were done by Meta, this will just end up increasing CPMs for everyone on the platform. Right now, Meta is shifting towards a different delivery system, which will be giving an advantage to diverse creative content on the account, as Gaby was mentioning before. This will mean that we will be starting to see better performance marketing in terms of understanding pain points, in terms of grouping messaging, in terms of like doing audience research. These are things that when we audit accounts, these are things that just most of the time don't exist. Everything is in the same place. Everything just seems to be, there's no thought process behind it. And this used to work. Right now, as we move on in 2026, I believe that this will not work anymore. And this will mean that for us as performance marketers, you'll be able to do a better job. But also for the end user who's just on his phone using Meta, will end up with a better experience. That's where Meta is changing right now. Actually, I quoted right now, I think I quoted someone that I read on LinkedIn the other week. Can't remember the name, so sorry for that. If I didn't mention you, can't remember the name, unfortunately. But I think it was really a good point. Like the reason why this shift is happening right now is because the ads inventory was increasing so much on the platform that Meta had two choices: either increase CPMs for everyone, which has been really bad to business, or change delivery system. So everyone needs to adapt and do a better job in terms of introducing content on the accounts.
I think to add to that, the thing I'm most excited about follows through on that, which is Meta's obviously bringing out a bunch of new metrics as well, which, as you mentioned, will make performance marketers better at that job, and that's good for us, but it also means that competition is harder. And the same way we see with businesses, you start to see the top ones coming to the surface. I'm excited because I think that's going to happen with content creation as well. And it just means that people will be able to identify better assets better, which means that assets are going to need to be better to be competitive.
Yes.
Thanks for watching that clip from the Blue Sense podcast. You can find the full episode in the description below.